I would say you are probably one of the most crazy people that would be able to get this pulled off.
Welcome, everyone, to another exciting episode of the Fishing Loons podcast, brought to you by Average Ontario Anglers. We're excited for this episode. This is one of those fun ones where we kind of just we have a couple interviews coming up, but this is kind of a catch-up for Jesse and I. My name is Andrew, if you're just joining us for the first time. My co-host, we kind of switched turns. Today, he's co-host, but also the editor-in-chief, because he has to do all the hard work later.
It's true.
Yeah, so we're a couple average guys. We like fishing. We love fishing, I should say. And this is an opportunity for us to kind of catch up with things that we're excited to do for the year in just, the few short weeks ahead from when you're hearing this. And also what we have just done. Because instead of an interesting fishing fact, we're breaking that tradition by doing a story time.
Yes. But I might add, before story time, we would like to say this episode is actually brought to you by the Cancast Fishing Show, which is now paired with Muskie Odyssey. We are really excited about this show. It is one of the biggest shows in North America, and it's by far the biggest fishing show, all fishing show in Canada. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that, but I just wanted to mention that because we have to, Andrew, or else we'll get fired.
Well, yeah, I get fired pretty easily from things I find, but but yeah, that's fantastic. And it's something that we're looking forward to. It does fit in. That's a great kind of episode sponsor, I guess you could say, is because that's exactly what we were going to talk about. Part of it is things we're excited about. That's a big one.
Absolutely. I'm super excited about it. But before we get into that, because we could just start babbling incoherently for the next 38 minutes. We're going to have, instead, like Andrew said, instead of an interesting fishing fact, we're going to have a little bit of a story time. We like to share examples or experiences that we've had in the past. And as the time of recording this, we just went ice fishing this past weekend.
And this was not just any normal ice fishing trip for us. This was a milestone for Jesse.
Yes. And I'll tell you why. So over many years of ice fishing, me and Andrew, we've gone ice fishing quite a bit. But most of the time when we go ice fishing, we usually go for perch. That's like our main thing. Yellow perch. Andrew grew up right on the shores of Lake Simcoe. We would go all the time. And, we've had some really good days out there catching jumbos and stuff. And then eventually we started catching some pike. We've done steelhead through the ice. I've caught, burbot through the ice, walleye through the ice, all the normal things through the ice. But when you live down here, kind of near the Carruthers, catching a lake trout through the ice is kind of something that doesn't happen. You have to drive a little bit farther to go fishing for lake trout unless you hit Simcoe. And again, that's just not something that I've done. And I think over the years, me and Andrew have tried to catch a lake trout, I think twice. Both times I've gone through the ice with two separate people who are like, yeah, guaranteed we'll catch them. Nothing. Zero. No lake trout. So over the years, I just kind of gave up. I was like, whatever, eventually I'll do it. But I'd actually never caught a lake trout before. And everyone's like, really? You never caught a lake trout? I'm like, I never fished for them. And the times that I had, it's just been cursed. So our buddy at Smooth River, I can't even say it smoothly. But our buddy Matt Martin at Smooth River Guiding, we actually did an ice fishing episode with him a few episodes ago. And he said, you've never caught a lake trout? I'm going to take you guys out. I'll guarantee you that we'll catch a lake trout. And I was like, okay, sweet.
Jesse's like, more false promises and crushed hopes soon.
Naturally, I was skeptical, but it is Matt. And if anyone knows Matt or have heard the episodes we've done with Matt before, we've done about 3 of them. He is a super fishy guy. He's a guide. He's on the ice all the time. He fishes year round. And I was just watching his Instagram and it seemed like the weeks before our actual trip, it's just like every time he was out, tons of lake trout were getting caught. So I was pretty confident. It was a bit of a drive. So a bit of a story. We went out with Matt. He's a guide, so he had everything. He's like, just bring your rods and, something warm and some food, which is great. Because when you go ice fishing, you have to bring so much stuff. And it's like, oh, you need a chair, you need this, you need a heater, you need propane. When you go fishing with a guide, it's like, you're spoiled because they do everything for you. I felt bad because I'm like, this isn't technically a guided trip, but he's just like doing all the work. And we're just standing there like, do you need us to carry anything? He's like, nah, I'm good.
Thanks for setting up our shelter.
Yeah. Hey, to be fair, I did help him set up the shelter. It was super windy, very windy that morning. And he's like, dude, the morning bite is going to be super good. We went out, he drilled all the holes. He had one of those fancy, it must have been at least an 8-inch hole. maybe a
Yeah,
10 inch.
I think that was a 10-inch auger.
Yeah, just a electric auger right through the ice. Ice was actually pretty thick where we were.
Over a foot, but it was like solid. Like it wasn't like that slushy stuff. Like it was clear, solid ice.
Yeah, it was cool. Now, to be fair, Matt does use live scope when you're ice fishing, and however you feel about that, here's my opinion. I've been thinking about it the last few days, and I'm like, live scope, it's very expensive. I agree. That's why a lot of people don't have it, because you're going to be spending $4,000 or $5,000 for live scope. Now, is it something me and Andrew have? No. Is it something we'll use when we go with someone? Of course. It's cool. It's definitely awesome for ice fishing, but a lot of people are like, oh, it takes the fun out of fishing. You're just staring at a screen. Well, if I was fishing with a flasher, which I've done before for lake trout, you know what I do all day? I stare at the flasher all day. So I don't really see, except for the cost part of it, I don't really see a difference. Because I'm going to be, especially when you're fishing for lake trout, you're going to be watching that flasher or watching your 2D graph all day. You're just now looking at the same screen with just different thing on the screen.
And another big benefit, another major difference, because Jess and I were talking about it after, is like a flasher, we'd be able to get most of the fish that we caught on the live scope. However, the biggest difference that would hinder us is we had 3 of us fishing in one hut using one, electronic device. So if you had a flasher, you'd be seeing 3 different baits. They'd all be moving around in those bands in the flasher. And then it'd be much harder to see another fish coming in from below or in amongst those baits. Whereas with the live scope, we were able to see our 3 individual lures down below. You could actually see the fish when it comes in from the side or from under the baits coming up. You could tell before it even reaches them, which one it was going for. You could see like which direction it was taking, like, all right. So that was really beneficial for us to be able to effectively see who was going to get bit, who could be prepared for it, and effectively present that specific bait to the fish. So that was a big help. And you could see it go from like one to the other. Like it was, like, oh, it's going to you, it's going to me, it's going to you. It
was fun. It was fun for sure.
It would have been a lot harder to do so with a flasher. So again, as a guide trying to do his job and make sure that people have the best chance possible to get bit, it's a no-brainer to use that on a situation like that.
Absolutely. But again, on this podcast, we don't really talk about live scope because the average angler doesn't have it. And I do feel that if I had a flasher and I was on a good spot, I would catch fish still. Or even just, 2D. You can see, you can put I forget what they call it, the A scope along the side. So it's kind of like a mini vertical flasher. Mm-hmm. The times that I've gone fishing without live scope, we went fishing with another one of our buddies up in the Muskokas maybe 3-4 years ago, and he had a flasher, and we still had a fun time. We didn't catch any fish, but we had fish chasing, and they just were being finicky. Yeah. Oh yeah, he caught
one 12-inch lake trout. It's like a pan fryer.
Yeah. So anyway, taking live scope out of the equation and conversation because it's it's cool, but we don't have it. And if you guys have it, that's awesome. If you don't worry.
It's fun to use though.
Still catch fish. But it was fun because lake trout fishing, it's so unlike, say, fishing for perch, because lake trout like to chase. So you're seeing these fish on whatever electronics you have come up to your bait, and then you start reeling in and the fish just start chasing. But the cool thing is on live scope anyway, you can see them zone in on a certain lure. Mm-hmm. And just sometimes they'll come out of nowhere really fast. Like they come just boom across the screen. And even on a flasher, you can see them just come up. And then you're reeling in your jig or your lipless crankbait or whatever you're using. And then they just swim right up to it. And sometimes they go like 20, 30, 40 feet before they hit it. And all of a sudden you just feel like a tap, and then all of a sudden your rod just loads up. So Matt was telling us, because again, we don't have a lot of experience ice fishing for lake trout. He's like, don't set the hook until you feel the fish on. Like when you feel a bite, if you set the hook, you'll pull it right out of their mouth. Of course, me and Andrew both missed our first fish. So I'm reeling up. I'm all excited. I feel a tap. I'm like, okay. So I set the hook. I pull the jig right out of the thing's mouth. He's like, don't do that. Just keep reeling until your rod loads up, and then the fish has time to close its mouth, and then you set the hook. And thankfully, after that, me and Andrew caught our next bite, which was pretty awesome. What did you catch your first one on?
First one came on a jig.
Yeah.
It actually came on the drop tine tackle. I can't remember the name of those jigs.
The Hunger Strike.
Yeah. Hunger Strike. Yeah. Awesome little jig to come pre-rigged with a nice little blade out the back. And yeah, just right on that. It was amazing. We were tipping it with a bit of Cisco on the lake as well. So just cut a little piece of Cisco just to give some natural scent as well to that bait. But yeah, that was my first one, came on one of those. Yeah.
And the cool thing with fishing with a guide is they're dialed in, right? So like I had all these tubes I'd picked up from drop tine. I had some bigger ones. And Matt was like, no, like you can fish some slightly smaller stuff. And the fish we did end up catching about 10 lake trout that day. But the fish were being pretty finicky. We could see them coming up looking at the lure or just lazily swimming by, and they weren't super aggressive most of the time. So we ended up, tweaking our technique a little bit. Matt was like, no, let's try something a little smaller, try something like this, add a little bit of scent, and then we ended up starting to catch fish. The one that I caught the biggest of the day, Andrew caught more than me. Andrew caught 4, I caught 3. But I did catch the biggest one, just to rub that into Andrew. But I caught it on a drop tine. Again, these are called the Hunger Strike. So it's a tube jig, has a really big, beefy single hook coming out the back. Like it's legit. It's not going to bend out on a big, even a 20-pound lake trout. But then underneath has a treble hook, and on the back has a little like wire that comes out the back with a blade on it. And as you're jigging that around, it looks like a minnow swimming. And then when you reel it up, the blade's spinning around, lots of vibration. Looks, pretty natural. But what I actually use, and we're going to talk about this in a future episode about fishing scents, but we actually got some of this Liquid Mayhem stuff. It's like a thick paste. And I was like, okay, Andrew's using some Cisco on the back of his hook. And I was like trying to eat, food with my hands. So I was like, I don't want to touch that. So I'm just going to squeeze some of this Liquid Mayhem. And I squirted it into the back of the tube, and it's actually like a thick paste.
Picture Vegemite. That's the closest texture-wise.
Yeah.
It's the closest thing I'd say it's like. But that's great because it's tacky. It sticks to it. It doesn't just wash away as soon as it touches the water.
It's still in this tube. Like it's very oily and greasy. Like it sticks in good. I squeeze it around. It kind of dripped out the back, and it's still in there. And it has a very distinctive smell. Apparently, it's made with it even says made with real bait fish. So I don't know how they just get a bunch of bait fish, throw them in a blender. I have no idea, but it ended up working. Did it make a difference? I feel like having scent, either the Liquid Mayhem or the Cisco on the baits, did make a difference. Because when we started doing that, we started catching more fish because the fish were looking at our baits and then just some of them just swam away. But as soon as we started putting scent on, we started catching more fish. I'm always skeptical about that kind of stuff, but I feel like that day, it did make a difference. I don't know.
I would agree.
Yeah. That's cool. But yeah, this stuff is pretty cool.
We had one of my coolest bites. I was using a lipless crank at the time, and you could see this fish. A lot of the fish that day, and again, Matt was fantastic at, telling us slow down, do these couple techniques, shake the rod tip and stuff as you do it, just to try and trigger that strike. They weren't super aggressively feeding on that day. So it was nice to have someone to kind of give us some pointers. So we actually landed some fish. Yeah. But this one came in hot. Like really a torpedo. Hot. You could see it just come screaming. It's probably the fastest fish we saw on the graph that day. Rocketing from the side. Before I even had a chance to start reeling up, it came in from below and it started arching up and coming right at my bait. And so I started reeling in pretty quick on that one, and it just hammered it as hard as possible. It was an amazing hit, and I had to pick up the slack and set the hook on it. But that was on a lipless crank, so we did catch him on a variety of baits, and it was cool kind of to see, even on how some days you go out fishing and it's like all the fish were light biters, and most of them were, but there's still some standouts, something to that laker either really hated what I was doing, it's this thing can't afford to live, or it was really hungry. I'm not sure, but it had a different attitude than the others, and it wasn't that much bigger than the other ones I had caught, but it was pulling line and stuff like that. It was an impressive fish to be fighting that hard and come in that aggressively. So that was a fun take for that one for sure, to kind of get one of those really hard aggressive Laker strikes. Yeah. So that was a blast.
Honestly, I was kind of looking at live scope, and I know we're average Ontario anglers, probably won't get live scope anytime soon. I was actually, after that trip, I was looking at getting a flasher. I started looking at some of the shops. I'm like, not this year, but I think next year I will get a flasher. So that's the kind of thing I feel like I would actually use. A flasher, it's fun. It maybe not as fun as live scope, but it's literally an eighth of the price. That's something I can get on board with as a flasher. And maybe next year we'll actually book a trip again and go up north. But if you guys, I know ice fishing season's pretty much over by the time this episode comes out. Maybe way up north, there's still some ice. But if you guys are looking to learn how to catch a lake trout, or, learn how to ice fish in general, just have a fun day out. Matt's actually a really fun guy. We were laughing the whole day. It was pretty funny. See a bunch of posts on our Instagram where we're just sitting there jigging, and one of us would hook a fish and we'd all just start laughing because we were trying to pull it away from each other and steal each other's fish. And then sometimes Matt would do it and he'd be like, sorry guys, So if you do a guided trip with Matt, he probably won't fish, so he won't steal your fish because he's really good at fishing. So it's kind of annoying, but it is what it is. But anyway, we'll put a link up below. We always like supporting our local guides. Again, sometimes they take us out. We talk about them on the podcast. If you guys ever book a trip with them, make sure you mention that you heard it here on the Fishing Loons podcast. And then he'll be like, I'm not available.
It was a really enjoyable day. Like Jesse
I did
said,
enjoy
even for going up there, prepping for that. It's a different experience than going with a standard hut runner where they have like multiple, hard-sided huts all laid out in the same spot, like over the perch grounds or whatever. Like this is a setup where he can be mobile if the day calls for it. If we have to move, and he's done that in the past. He's like, oh, they moved off here, or seems to be they're in a different type of structure. You can pick up the hut and just motor over somewhere else and set it up. Yeah. So having that, he still is really setting himself apart from just a standard hut runner. And again, he still has all the comforts that you normally get in a hut. Really, like you have your heater going. I was melting my boots on it. It was so nice and toasty in there.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's fantastic. A great time. I highly recommend.
And he provides all the gear if you don't have any gear. If you don't have any like lake trout ice fishing, you might have a perch rod, but if you don't have a lake trout rod, me and Andrew both had them because of course we buy gear that we only, use once in a while.
I've owned that rod for I think 4 years. That's the first time I've used it.
Same. That rod I use. Yeah. I was like, well, I got this for lake trout 4 years ago and I've never used it. Still had the wrapper on it. I was like, ah. But he provides everything. And when you fish with a guide, it is different than like a hut runner, like Andrew said. But like if you fish with a guide like Matt, he's there. He's making tweaks. He's giving you tips as you're reeling in. Sometimes like you have a fish follow and you kind of choke up and he's like, no, reel it in or shake it. And that's when the fish grabs it. And he gives you all the little tips. So it's not just a day. You're learning how to catch a lake trout. So I think that if I went out now, again, I'm an avid fisherman, I would say. I feel like if I gave myself time, I could figure out how to catch lake trout eventually. But I learned a lot in one day with a guide, which was, that's the whole point of a guide, right? Not just to catch fish, but to learn how to do it. So we always say that you can learn a lot from a guide. It may be a little bit expensive, but I feel like the value of what you learn in one day will make up for years of like learning on your own. So anyway, check Matt out again. We're going to have him on again, maybe later in the summer. We're going to talk about some other fish. I'm sure he fishes out of Georgian Bay for a lot of the species. So that's pretty much chock full of everything. So we'll have him on for something.
Well, a great segue from here is the fact that we went fishing with Matt this past spring on a little trip. And that's kind of our first topic we're going to talk about in the actual podcast here is something that I'm really excited about in the spring is early pike fishing.
Ooh.
Like ice out pike.
Yeah.
I remember always seeing like the Ontario Out of Doors magazines. They always had the article and then, would drop in like May or April. It's like ice out pike. And it's, I'm like, excellent. I love those articles. I always wanted to do it, but I didn't live close enough to really have a pike spot by my house in Beaverton. So it was although I should have tried harder, really, because they probably came right into the harbor, but...
Yeah.
Oh, well. Older and somewhat wiser. But one of the things that I'm excited for is pike fishing. And they come in the shallows, which is great. They'll start spawning even under the ice in some places, which means as soon as that ice is out, they may be done their spawn or finishing their spawn and then starting to leave. So you really have like a small window to hit prime time for those pike. And that's kind of like why they're there in the shallows accessible. But do you have any other things that you're excited for or areas you want to try and target this year in particular for pike?
Yeah, I think we've kind of dialed it in the last few years. Like we've always gone, but it seems like the last few years we've been going earlier and earlier. I think when I first started fishing, like when I was a teenager and stuff, I didn't realize how early you could catch them. Like I would be like, oh, wait till the water warms up a bit. You know what I mean? But now I'm like, if there's no ice, I'm going in and there are big pike in there. Because as soon as the ice breaks up, they're not there for that long. Might be a week, might be 2 weeks, and then they're gone. The big ones.
And the first ones to leave are the big ones. Yeah.
And that is just the point. We've talked about this in the podcast. I was just saying to Andrew, 2 years ago on March 3rd, right after the ice broke up, me and Andrew went out and fished and I caught a 37.5 inch northern. The water was 36.5 or 37 degrees. Like it was freezing. And we were fishing and it was like, we didn't think we were going to catch anything because the water was so cold. But then Andrew caught one, or we saw one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had a hit first. I was using a big blade chatterbait and just reeling it as slow as I could. And I had a hit, but even that seemed to be too fast of a presentation for these things. Like slow rolling with a side mounted fluke, so it gives a bit more lift and stuff like that. And it was still too fast of a retrieve.
Yeah. And that time of year, you really need to use like, again, I caught mine on a jerkbait that day and it was really long pauses. As the water warms up, you can start using faster baits. But yeah, you know what? One thing I find is deep water access, but really shallow, sunny bays. Like we're looking for I feel like we caught that fish, that bigger one, in like 4 or 5 feet of water, but it was very close to a big flat that was like 2 feet deep and just like mud bottom, lily pad roots, a spawning bay for sure. But the sun was out. The sun was like down on that side of the bay. That was the warmest part of the bay. We were looking around for temps. We were looking for the warmest part of the bay. The fish are going to be attracted to that. And then you have to fish really slow, which is annoying, right? Like, I hate that. But,
it's annoying for Jesse, especially. He likes being a power fisherman.
I know. But yeah, you know what? We always say this, but here are the 2 baits that 100%, when the water's really cold, these are the 2 baits that I'm going to recommend. And they're both jerk baits. That's the answer, is jerk baits. But you want a Fire Tiger jerk bait or a jerk bait. I recommend Fire Tiger though. This one is actually a new one that I'm excited to try. This is the Savage Gear Gravity Twitch. It's 115 millimeter. It's actually a floating one. This is a little bit of a tip because I've done this with other baits. This is a slow rise floating jerk bait. Now, most of the time you think, oh, jerk baits have to be suspending. They don't have to be. This is a slow rise. So it will slowly rise. But here's what I did. I got a wire leader that I make, a specific wire leader for this jerk bait. I put the wire leader on this, I put it in my sink full of water, and it still floated up too high. Because what I want to do is use a floating bait so I can balance out the weight of my leader. Then I bought some of those storm suspending strips and I stuck it on the bottom. And I used just enough that with that leader, it has an extremely slow rise. Extremely slow. I still want it to rise slightly because if I'm fishing shallow water and it slowly sinks, it may just sink down into the muck. And then I'll get snagged up. So it has a very, very slow rise. So you have to tweak. It depends on the bait. But if you have these little strips of lead and stick them to the bottom, then you can pretty much get your leader, get the bait, and tweak them perfectly. So you can have super awesome balanced action and you'll catch tons of fish. It looks cool. I haven't caught any fish on this one yet. Obviously, I just got it. But other baits that we've done well on, Rapala Husky Jerk. Those are like $10, $11 now. Fire Tiger. This is another one I'm excited to try. This is more of a bougie bass bait, but like the color. This is the Nishini Erie 115. Yeah. This one too, if you notice, it actually has a little lead strip on the bottom that you can adjust the float rate as well, which is another cool tip. That's kind of like using a lead strip, but this one just hangs down. And the other bait I would try, which has a little bit cooler action, I'd say, is a soft plastic jerk bait. It's one of Andrew's favorite baits too. And I got this color. This is the X-Zone Whiplash Shad. These are made in Canada too. Look at that fluorescent pink bubble gum. This is the 6-inch version. Now these get chewed up by pike, yes, but the action itself, if you hook this on like a 4/0 Texas rig hook and you whip it out and you just twitch it around, it has this like crazy whipping, well, it's a whiplash shad. It's like whoosh, whipping around in action. And then they slowly sink and then you twitch them up. And that can oftentimes cause a reaction bite too.
The good thing too about using that soft plastic jerk bait, and you can use pretty much any fluke style bait. If it's, you can fish it then, because you can Texas rig it, you can fish it right into like the dead weeds that are right up near shore and stuff. Because sometimes these pike, when they spawn, you'll sometimes see their back out of the water. Like they are in that shallow of water sometimes. And it could be like a bunch of broken pencil reeds or something that are, from where the ice is shifted and cut them all off kind of at water level. And you can't fish a treble hook bait through that. Yeah. Not effectively. Like you can have fun, but you cast this thing like a Texas rigged fluke and you can fish it just like a jerk bait. You can let it pause. You can let it sit. A lot of them that have, if you wanted to go with something that's TPE, it will stand up a bit more to the pike teeth and getting chewed up and stuff like that. It also, depending what size hook you use, you can also still have it float. So if you want to have like a top water or almost a suspending style, you can do so with that as well. But the other thing to keep in mind too is you might be losing out on scent. And right now, pike, because it's so slow, scent may be a good thing to use just because it's going to be sitting in front of their face. They'll often just stare at the bait for a while. Sometimes they'll follow it till the next pause, but they're just staring at it sometimes. So having something that can entice a bite, even bright colors mimicking like a white and stuff like that, or chartreuse, can mimic dead bait fish. And it's just like, they're opportunistic feeders. They'll eat it if it's sitting in front of them.
That's actually a really good point, because we had this one day, I think like 3 years ago, where we were fishing this it was crazy. It was like a 2-hour window where almost every 5 minutes we had a pike. And we were fishing like, I'd say less than 12 inches of water. We were sight fishing for the fish. We were seeing them like, there's one, chuck out a bait and a weedless soft plastic jerk bait. I can't think of a better bait in that situation.
You couldn't use anything else.
Yeah.
Like that's about it. You had to have something Texas rigged to cast in that area.
Yeah. You could probably get away with using like a floating Rapala and just slowly reeling it and it would dive down.
I did get one on a wake bait, and it was the Balsa Extreme wake bait from Apala.
Yeah.
I did use that, but again, I had to be choosy because I could cast around some of the margins, but again, where we were catching some of the pike was literally casting into like the dead bulrushes.
Yeah.
So again, like we were wanting to fish an area where if you did want to fish the whole 100% of that, pike zone, it was casting directly into dead weeds.
It's a great time of year, and I think it's something that right at ice out is like prime steelhead season. So a lot of anglers be like, oh, I'm going to do that instead. But if you want to get out in your boat or fish from shore, there's lots of shore access spots where you can do this too. It is a great time, and you can catch some truly gigantic, probably the biggest pike of the year. You can catch that time of year because they're all in one small area, and you can just be like, hee, no one's. How many times have we gone out pike fishing early ice out and there's no one fishing? Like every single time. I don't think I've bumped into anyone. Yeah, everyone's like, oh man, the steelhead are running. I'm like, I don't care. I'm trying to catch a 40-inch northern, and they're in here. Anyway. Yeah, I'm excited about that. If you're interested in ice out pike fishing, we actually have a full episode on doing ice out pike fishing. So I'm going to link that below. Give that a listen. We're not going to do the same episodes every year. So we're not going to do an ice out pike whole episode, but we have at least 1 or 2 episodes on that. So I'll put them in the links below. You can listen to those for sure.
This year, we're going to do a slightly after ice out pike episode.
Yeah.
No, we're not quite that. We haven't run out of topics yet. So we don't need to start revisiting those. Before we go into our next little section, we actually have our first interview here. Again, this episode is brought to you by the Cancast Fishing Show and Muskie Odyssey, because they are now being held on the same date up in Peterborough. We're going to get a lot more details now from the man, the myth, the legend himself, who has put this show together for us. And we're going to head right on to that interview. So now I get to talk to our special guest star. And star is right, because this guy, he is the star, the guy who's putting together what we're most excited for this spring. I would say, I know I'm very excited for it. How about you, Jesse?
I'm super excited. This is, as we always say, it's Canada's biggest fishing show. It's huge.
Yes. And it covers more species than ever. So welcome, Kyle Carruthers. Welcome to the podcast again.
Man, I don't know if I've ever had an intro that good. Like a star. Like, man, I feel really special right now about that. Like I'm on cloud 9. Like this is good. I appreciate it. But thanks guys for having me on. It's crazy. The show is like literally right here coming up any day. Lots happening and I'm excited to talk about it with you guys. I really think this is going to be, well, you said it, Jesse. This is literally, if the square footage we have now, one of the biggest fishing events in North America. So pretty cool to see it come into Peterborough and right here in Ontario, where all us average Ontario anglers can go and get sweet deals on sweet stuff. I'm really excited about it. This is our 5th year anniversary at the Cancast. And as you guys know, we wanted to make it special. So we joined forces with our friends at Muskie Canada. So we're having like the Cancast Muskie Odyssey combined, which is really cool. So not only do we have more vendors than ever, we have way more space, way more prizes, just way more everything, way more retailers, way more bait companies. If you name it, we have more of it this year. So, and what's pretty cool about it is we were able to basically keep the ticket price like basically the same. Maybe $2 more because there's a couple Ticketmaster fees, but there's lots of discount codes out there you can save that $2 with.
The biggest thing that we've kind of talked to before in this podcast is this year, I know every time we've talked to you, you always say it's bigger and better, bigger and better, bigger and better. Every year you've delivered. I will say that. It's gotten better every year. This year, how much bigger is it?
So picture, basically we have a whole nother 2 full ice pads, plus a lobby, plus the upstairs area of the Kinsman Center, which were the Muskie guys to be holding their seminars. So it's legitimately twice the size now, which is really cool. The one thing is like every year I'm like, oh, this show is going to get easier to put together. And it doesn't. It just gets harder because I'm like, I don't want to be known as like a hype man. So I really got to make sure like I deliver, especially when I do like my videos where I'm like throwing my hands in the air like Scott Nails, like, hey, come camp bigger and better. You know what I mean? Which got a lot of views, by the way, this week, but that was cool. So I really put like a lot of heart and soul into like, how do we deliver? And a lot of that comes with like, one, we can't have a show without the best vendors. Like our vendors are phenomenal. And part of that is a partnership. Like, hey, they bring the good stuff. So we want to create an experience of one day of mayhem where it's amazing experience, it's high energy, but amazing deals too. So everything from the tackle swap to the biggest brands in fishing, there's going to be a show special for everybody to get something, which is awesome about it. So yeah, I mean, go what you're saying, Andrew, like it's definitely gotten bigger every year. And, you know, a lot of media has reached out to me lately, and that was like, there's like, tell us about it. It's getting bigger every year, but I'm just kind of worried about like where we go from here, honestly, because it's like, I don't know what to do anymore. Because like, I can't move it. Like I can't go to Toronto or anything like that. It's like, I don't know what the future holds, but I guess that's a good thing, right? There could be worse problems, but it's definitely big this year. It's going to be big.
I think my main concern with that is we didn't see everything last year. We're going to have to go twice as fast running around to see everything. There's so much stuff. And you know, we go to all the fishing shows. Some of them you walk in and out pretty quick. This is not a show like that. This is a show where I'm like, we're there for the day, right, Andrew? Yeah. We're there when it opens and we're there when it closes and they kick us out. And Andrew's bag is just, he's wearing a backpack just stuffed full of fishing lures and tackle and all kinds of stuff. It's insanity. And then on top of that, Muskie Odyssey. Oh man, my wallet's going to take a beating this year.
Oh man, and that was really cool, like how that came together. They have been doing a fantastic job. Like shout out to Jeff and Joe. Jeff is basically the Odyssey general manager, and Joe is the president of Muskies Canada. But they've been incredible, like, you know, what they're doing and holding up their side of the deal and going above and beyond. And they got some amazing sponsors there and like tons of free stuff over there on that side. It's just going to be an awesome collaboration. And that's what we want people to understand is it's not like two shows happening in the same town, same day. It's like one big event. So the biggest thing I want to stress is, yes, we're taking over two different venues. So we have the Memorial Center that we've always had, and now we have the Kinsman Civic Center. They're about 6 minutes apart. We will have free shuttles going between them if you guys don't want to move your car, which I would highly recommend jump on a shuttle because I have no idea what parking will be like when you get to the other side. But there's lots of parking. Don't worry, there's lots of streets. But we also have a whole nother ice pad over there of Cancast vendors. So the Odyssey will have one full ice pad, and then the other ice pad connected to it will have a bunch of Cancast vendors as well as our famous tackle swap, which I have over 80 tables signed up for right now. So we're putting a big push into the tackle swap and kind of bringing it back to its roots, you know, like we're making sure it's like good tournament guys and really good stuff. And, you know, certain collectors I've known over the years, like who are coming back after not being there for a few years. So I think we're going to start seeing the quality of that going back up to where it was like 2-3 years ago. So we're really excited about that being in full force. So I want people to understand, like, get on the shuttle or drive to the other venue. Just keep your ticket. They'll scan it. You'll get back in. You can go back and forth all day between each venue. But there's tons of Cancast stuff and really cool vendors over there with the Odyssey guys as well.
Are there any specific vendors or collaborators that, like, I know you mentioned Muskies Canada, and that's been a huge help and big part of supporting, especially the Muskie Odyssey. Are there anyone in particular that you're excited to have at the show that perhaps either hasn't been there or someone that you're really happy is coming back? I'm sure like everyone who has in the past, but
yeah, there's so many, and like everybody deserves a shout out. We've had some like extremely loyal guys to us, which, you know, we really hedge our bets on those guys coming back every year, which they do. There's some cool new ones coming though, like Catch and Cook with Jay Simmons. That's pretty cool. Jay's actually coming. And I think I can break the news on this podcast because probably by the time this gets out there, this will be up there. But Bob Azumi and Jay Simmons are going to do a seminar together, which I think will be very, very cool.
Jesse has a book he needs to get signed by Bob too. We've talked a few times.
So I think you'll be able to go in there and you'll be able to see Bob and Jay talk together and talk to the crowd. And like, I just think like that's going to be an iconic fishing moment. As of recording this, I just finished that deal literally 10 minutes ago with Jay and Bob. Like, I'm pretty stoked on it. So I had to tell somebody about it. So I think that's going to be really cool. So I'm excited for Catch and Cook because I just love their products. Like, oh my gosh, their garlic seasoning is just to die for. My wife puts it on everything we cook. But Catch and Cook's cool. I got to give a shout out to Bubba, just for always sponsoring us, being our title sponsor. FXR is coming in a huge way, Canadian company, which is really cool. They're giving out like all the free bags again and tons of free stuff. But man, there's just so many. Like, I don't even know where to start. Like, honestly, this has been overwhelming, the amount of support we're getting this year with the vendors. And like the list is over like 260 vendors now. And like a lot of them have multiple booths, but like it's monstrous, guys. Like, I'm not sitting here like, hey, I'm a hype man. It's like legitimately like we have it done. Like, this is the show this time. Yeah, I feel really good about it. I really do.
Super excited.
So
yeah.
If I gave anyone advice, I'd bring it to them. Because it's like, it's just going to be one of those things. The deals are crazy. And as we get a little bit closer to the show, like watching our Instagram, we start posting about some of that stuff. But there's just so much awesome stuff coming. Like you're going to run out of cash, like, or like set yourself a limit for sure. Cause you don't want to lose the house over it.
And I just thought I'd point out, because you were saying how the ticket price has gone up a bit, let's say 10%. The show has gone up 200%. And of any of the shows that we ever go to, Cancast is the one that has the most giveaways that I've ever seen. Other vendors, they have their own raffles all throughout the show. Like if you want to go there and just, say to yourself, make a rule. And I don't know why you'd make this rule, but if you decided to make this rule and say, I'm not going to buy anything, I'm just going to try and win stuff, the value of that ticket to get in the door and try that is amazing.
Oh, yeah. It's crazy. And the one thing I'd say to people, even if you came to Cancast like maybe a couple years ago and you're like, yeah, it was cool. Like this is a whole different show now. Like you need to come and give us another chance because it will blow your socks off. And it's a different feel. Like even from a vendor standpoint, like they do different things at this show than they would at like, I don't know, a sportsman show or anything like that. You know what I mean? It's just a different feel and it's a different kind of attitude. Like, hey, we're going to give stuff away today and we're going to give smoking deals. So there's a reason why like every retailer, like all the major retailers in Ontario come, plus all the big brands, plus all the custom bait makers, plus all like the swap guys now, plus all the muskie guys, plus all the lodges we have, guide services, like you name it. Like the biggest problem we will have is people being able to do it all in one day.
Yeah.
Which goes back to, are we ever going to go 2 days? I never want to say never because I have no idea what next year holds at this point. We're just trying to get through this year. But it's going to be a great, great event. I apologize for the ice storm last year. I know everyone's mad at me, but I couldn't control that one. So it kind of put a damper on it. But hey, it's going to be good this year. And if we get an ice storm, I'm going to blame Jesse because he told me it would never happen again.
I said 100% chance it won't happen.
I made a deal with Mother Nature the day after last year's show because I was so mad. And I'm just like, well, all we can do is come back bigger and stronger. And I was already in talks with the Muskie guys like before last year's show to make this happen. So we put a ton of hours into this one. Like we've been working on it since before last year and tons of meetings of cities and vendors and this, that. And a few people are like, are you sure it's going to work with both venues? And I'm like, it will work. And then someone was like, well, you're just crazy enough to pull it off. So let's see what happens. And like, I think it's going to work, honestly. Like, so my biggest advice is make sure you hit both venues. Like, why would you not? Like, you've already paid to get in, like hit them both. Right. So, and now you have to figure out where do you want to start. You want to start over on the one side where, like swap and vendors and Odyssey is. You want to start at like, now that's the big dilemma.
I know where Andrew wants to start. So tackle swap.
Where are you going to start, Andrew?
Tackle swap.
Yeah.
I spend most of the money there.
Yeah,
for sure. No, and there is some good guys coming to the swap this year. Like I picture some like years. There's going to be some gems. The biggest problem is you got to stop all the swap guys from trading with each other before the doors open and buying all the right. So it's funny, man. It's good. But no, we're really excited about it. We do have a lot of giveaways. We're going to announce shortly, by the time this is out, we're going to be right into them. So yeah, if you listen to this, get your tickets because we give away stuff right up to the day of the show. So if you're listening to this, there's still time left. Get a ticket. I highly recommend you guys buy your tickets online. It just makes life easier. There's no discount at the door. It's all through Ticketmaster. It's on your phone this year. And then you don't have to worry about a second line, like standing in it to buy a ticket at the box office or anything like that. But no, we're excited. Like it is going to be arguably, like I wouldn't put my reputation on the line unless I truly believed in it. It's going to be one of the biggest fishing events in North America. And it's getting a lot of attention right now. And we just need all you amazing people to show up and make it as big as we keep saying it's going to be. So, but we're ready for the crowds. We also got the food situation sorted out. Town's letting us have food trucks this year.
That's amazing.
Yay. So no one has to wait for food. And so, yeah, you can make a day out of it. There's some amazing seminars. We mentioned the Bob and Jay one. We got Nick Kuzvis coming back on tackle setup. We have Tommy Wynn coming up to basically show you how to use your guys' live scopes. He's one of the best. And then we have our awesome women's fishing panel with some amazing lady anglers that were actually like one of the busiest seminars last year. Like these chicks can fish, man. Sorry, I don't know if I'm allowed to say chicks, but they're all my friends, so they won't get mad at me. You know what I mean? Like they can fish. We're really excited about it. And to those speakers for coming and supporting us. Like we couldn't do it without it. I know everyone says, Andrew, you said I'm the star, but it really takes a village to make this thing roll, right down from the vendors, right to guys like you helping us promote it, right down to everybody coming through the door buying a ticket. That's what's going to keep this thing going and allow us just to keep getting bigger and bigger. But we're not slowing down. We're getting into our 5th year here in Peterborough. There's a whole other 5-year plan after this, and we'll just see what happens. We may have to move it to like the moon or something, because I don't, unless someone can find me a venue that I can put everything in one spot, that is my issue. But hats off to Peterborough. They've been fantastic this year and working with us and accommodating us. And, we really hope to leave in Peterborough for a long time.
Absolutely.
So,
and I will say, of the few years that I've known you, Kyle, I would say you are probably one of the most crazy people that would be able to get this pulled off. So that's off.
I love that. I take it as a compliment.
I can picture Kyle being one of the bus drivers in the shuttle bus drivers. He's driving just like Kramer, fighting people off, making all the stops.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So there'll be some city buses and there'll be some school buses, but there'll be shuttle stops in front of each building. Like you won't miss them. We'll also have information tents at the entrance of each building with like floor plans and stuff. So if you're looking for somebody, just look for people wearing like the Cancast shirts. They can direct you, all that stuff. Cause there's going to be some logistics to this event. No, man, it's going to be good. Feeling really good about it. Like usually I'm like stressing out and like smashing my head off the desk, and I've only texted Wham like 3 times this year complaining about something. He's like my therapist. Wes, I had to give Sean and Mark a break. I've wore them out over the years. But like seriously, like this one, we put the work in this one. It's going to go. It's going to be really
I do
good.
have one tip for everyone. So Andrew, do you remember how many, Andrew had one of those clickers, those clickers people use when they're counting their fish. Andrew had this thing. He's like, I want to see how many people recognize this at Cancast. And I was like, we're not Bob Azumi. No one's going to remember us. Do you remember how many people recognize
220 different, not like times we were approached, different individuals approached us.
So, and I'm sure more people just didn't come and say hi because they're afraid of Andrew. But if we see you at Cancast, 100%, we're going to ask you if you've been to the other building. And if you have not, we're gonna do something to you. I haven't decided yet, but we're gonna do something bad.
Yeah.
I get to choose one thing out of the bag you've already purchased.
Yes.
We might have like a jail setup or something where you have to go
Straight
like a
to jail.
timeout. It's like either to jail or on that shuttle.
Yeah.
You take your
Just
pick.
get escorted out in handcuffs onto the bus. They take you to the other place. Yeah.
Yeah. I also want to like kind of talk about how we grow. You kind of asked me who I was excited about. There is a lot of new vendors, and I really should have had my list in front of me here. So I apologize to everybody, but like we got a lot. Like what's cool is like we have the Ministry of Natural Resources coming this year with all the COs and everything, which I honestly think is pretty cool because you get to ask those guys some like questions, like not about breaking the law and stuff, but like they got some really cool stories. You know what I mean? Like if you talk to some of those COs and they've been awesome, and support like that. We'll be handing out copies of the fishing regulations again. Big thanks to the ministry as well.
Even having the opportunity to talk to them to figure out or to get clarification perhaps on some rules. Again, like not trying to like find loopholes in the system, but like, hey, like what is like the actual line in this zone? Like where is, I know for a while, Jess and I, we didn't know exactly all the way across, depending on the shore of like Lake Ontario. Where what is Lake Ontario? From like a river mouth, when does it change? When there's a harbor there, when there's like outlets, all those different things, it can be hard to find that information. So if you have any questions like that, when they're there in person, that's a great opportunity to try and, maybe get some answers to those stuff.
For sure. And that's when you can say to them, I'm just asking for a friend.
Yeah. Be like, my friend Andrew catches bass out of season. Is that allowed?
Yeah. No, but seriously, it's going to be really good. Like there's that way and lots of different things happening. We also, like for all you kayak guys, we got a ton of kayak vendors as usual. Smoking deal if you guys want to buy a new kayak. Boats will have everything from the, new Legend Impulse right up to the, 21-foot Skeeters and pontoons and everything else in between. Like there's a lot of stuff coming for boats in the boat yard. Those are the guys you got to really hope we get nice weather for. They toughed it out last year. Like some of them standing in the ice storm, like troopers, they're all very mad at me still, but they're coming back. But I had to make it up to them. But it's going to be good, guys. Like honestly, so I don't even know what to tell you I'm excited about because I'm so mentally exhausted because I'm working on this thing like every night till 11. Like the vendor list is crazy and they just keep signing up every day. Like we're jammed full and they're like, hey, do you have room? And I'm like, I don't know, like maybe in this corner, like I can do it, right? So
put you right between the washrooms out there. You can.
Yeah, exactly. And they're like, okay, I'll take it, whatever you got. So no, it's been really good. I'm pretty proud to put my name on this one. I think it's going to be awesome. A banger.
So just for everyone, if you haven't got your tickets yet, make sure you get them. As always, we have the links down below in the bio. Goes right to Cancast as well. And make sure if you're at the show, make sure you say hi to us. And if you see Kyle running around with his head chopped off, just say, way to go, Kyle, and just keep walking. Don't bug him. He's busy.
Yeah. If everything goes as smooth as it should, I should be happy. I mean, I always run around, but this is the problem. During Cancast, I normally do 35,000 steps on the Sunday. Like that's a lot of steps, right? Well, now I got to go and check a whole nother menu. So it will be very interesting to see me and where I am, because there's always fires that come up, a problem or this or that, but we always get them. But hey, I mean, the lights turned off last time, so can't be any worse than that, right? When we lost power.
2027, we're looking into cloning.
Yes, exactly. So no, but I got a really good team that's going to help me out, and yeah, we're excited about it, man. And hats off to Muskies Canada's guys. They really got their stuff in order. Like Jeff has done an amazing job. So any of you Muskie guys that are out there, I can't speak for past Odysseys. I have been to a couple, but they've done a very good job of helping us organize this one. And I think it's going to bring the Odyssey to another level. The amount of eyes you've got on Muskies Canada for conservation, which is, their main thing. That's why they exist. Conservation of muskie. You guys can listen to one of our Cancast podcast episodes we did a few weeks ago with Joe. Talks about a lot of it. It's pretty cool. So I just want to say thanks to those guys. And most of all, thanks to you guys, man. I love what you guys do and always helping us out and plugging us and working with us. And man, you guys just keep getting bigger and bigger too. I don't know what we're going to do with you guys, but Jay Simmons, watch out. Here they come.
Yeah, right.
We'll have to expand to 2 locations ourselves pretty soon.
Yeah. Andrew's head will have to expand into 2 locations because it's getting so big.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway.
Yeah. Well, you have enough beard there. You can give a little bit to like the next clone, right? So, yeah. Nice. Well, no, I appreciate you both guys. And yeah, everyone can check out our website, cancastshow.ca, and all the speakers are up there and the ticket link as well. But by all means, if you have any questions about where a vendor is or how a shuttle is going to work, please reach out. Shoot me a DM on Instagram on the Cancast page or my personal page, and we'll get back to you ASAP.
Awesome. Thanks again for coming on. We know you're a busy guy. I guess the next time we'll see you
guys.
is at Cancast. So we'll see you there.
Can't wait. Sweet.
Right.
Thanks, boys. Talk soon.
Have a great
Cheers.
day. That's always great to hear from Kyle, especially get some little things, sneak previews sometimes, or even just to be able to, I get excited because I'm like, whoo, I can't wait to see whatever booth he mentioned there.
Yeah. No, he put so much hard work into this event. Mm-hmm. And I know we usually go to shows and not really think about, the guy who put together the show or is running it, but it's a lot of work. Mm-hmm. And, it's the biggest and my favorite fishing show, of course, that I've ever been to. So every year that it happens and it's bigger, I'm like, oh my goodness, my wallet is gonna. I don't even know what I'm gonna do this year because last year was bad, and now it's like Odyssey on top of it. It's like, oh man. Usually they're separated by a few weeks, so it's like you go to Odyssey, you spend too much money, you kind of recover. Your wife kind of forgives you, and then you go to Cancast, and you're like, well, here we go again. But now they're in the same day. It's like,
I'm gonna need to bring 2 backpacks.
Yeah,
just like half of the day, just like, that one's full, time to get the new one.
Well, here's the thing. If we can go from place to place, every time we decide to jump on the bus to go to the next one, you can just throw your backpack in your car, empty all the loot, and then go to the next show.
Yeah, we'll have to do staging for our purchases.
Yeah. And why don't we mention quick? I remember we were talking about a little AOA giveaway that we were going to talk about.
Yes. So this is we're excited to do this. This is the first year we've done it. In the past, we already talked about it with Kyle. We had that counter going, see how many people would come and say hi to us. And we love it. And if you are at the show, if you see us, come say hi, snap a photo, get a photo with us, make a post. And if you tag us in that post, in that Instagram story or that post.
It has to be a post, not a story.
Okay. See, Jesse's a smart guy. He's like, no, you should do this so that it helps. So if you make a post, tag us in that post that you saw us at Cancast, and we will be entering you into a giveaway. So at the end of that day, we're going to be pulling 3 different names, and all of you are getting some limited edition AOA hats. So we have a few we've held back, and so we're going to be giving away 3 of them at the show for anyone. So just to enter that, all you have to do is just go on Instagram. When you see us, get a photo of us. If you want to make a candid photo, it's a little odd, but we prefer it if you come say hi. So come say hi to us. We'll get a pic together. And then if it post that on your Instagram and tag us in it that we're at the show, and we will put you into that draw for those hats.
And make sure you tag us in the photo. Don't just put at Aboriginal Ontario Anglers. You have to tag us in the photo because I'm going to be looking through our tagged photos and then we're going to draw from that. So yeah, do that. That'll be cool. And make sure you tag us, but also tag Cancast as well.
And we'll give more details on that as well leading up to on that weekend, just so that we'll have a specific time as well that we'll be doing that draw. We'll let you guys know exactly when that's happening so that you can be available for that if you're still at the show.
And if we're going to be nice, Andrew, maybe people that we see at the show and we'll remind them to do it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
We'll like, hey,
if you come say hi to us, we're like, hey, you should post that.
Guy's like, but I just broke my camera taking a picture of you guys. You owe me $500. Like, here's a hat.
Worth it.
Oh, man. Let's talk about one more thing that we are excited to fish for in the spring. And then we have one more guest, right?
Mm-hmm. So I know what I'm excited for. And I'm going to give you a hint.
Okay.
It's kind of a greasy fish.
Lake trout?
It's chunky. Oh. And despite all the bad, rap that it gets, it's kind of pretty.
Carp?
Absolutely. Nature's goldfish.
It's true. I like carp fishing.
Carp fishing is good. It's especially nice because when you're out of shape after just binging on like food all winter long and you've been going to the gym like you should, or you just never go to the gym like me. In the spring, it's kind of nice. Like you feel how out of shape you are when you're going for steelhead, walking the creeks or trying to manhandle the boat back onto the trailer at the boat launch after going for spring pike. And you're like, I'm out of breath. You know what I want to do? Sit in a chair with my rod and a bait alarm and just wait for carp to come by and eat it like vacuums. It's amazing. It's relaxing. It's fun.
It's relaxing.
It doesn't have to be a huge, long endeavor because carp are practically everywhere here in southern Ontario. On most bodies of water, there are carp. I would say, if it's a lake, all the Carruthers, they've got carp. Lake Ontario, it's got carp. Coming into the tributaries in the spring for spawning and into the marsh areas, carp. So they're pretty accessible that time of year. And there's not many mosquitoes out. So you can actually enjoy a nice evening out in a camp chair.
Yeah. It's one of those things for us. Like I know a lot of more hardcore carp anglers, they might make a bigger, production of it. Mm-hmm. And have they might plan like a weekend trip or a whole day. But for us, it's kind of we just finished working. Let's go down to the local area and catch some carp. And we'll do it after work for like 3 hours. If the bite's hot, sometimes we'll stay a bit late. But it's one of those things that it's bank angling generally. I do want to catch one out of the canoe this year though. That would be
awesome. Yeah. There's a couple spots that we have in mind to go do that because sometimes, especially some of these marsh areas that they come into for their like springtime spawn and stuff like that, all the shoreline around it is still marsh. There's not like a shoreline, a nice defined edge that you can just stand and sit on. There are many locations that you can do so, but there are a choice few where there's tons of carp in these areas, but there's not really effective shore access. So yeah, we've been trying to find spots and toying with the idea for a while now of taking a boat or canoe to be able to target these fish kind of just out in the water. And a carp, like we've gone for the salmon sleigh ride, we call it, going for salmon, out in river mouths and whatnot in the canoe. And they'll pull the boat around. I am really curious to see how a carp stacks up to that because I know they're not faster, but I would argue they may have more muscle or more pulling power just because of like the size of their big meaty tails. Like those things, they're bulldozers. They just go and you can't stop them. So your drag is cranked on those things. You're using way heavier line than I do for salmon fishing oftentimes. And so you could just like crank the drag and I want to see how it pulls a canoe. Like that would be fun.
Yeah. No, I definitely want to do it. Yeah, there's a few areas that I want to put the canoe in. And again, if you're listening to this for the first time, we have a very wide flatback canoe. It's more like a thin boat. Don't try salmon fishing in a regular canoe. It can be sketchy, or even carp fishing. Like don't go out into the Great Lakes in a canoe. That's sketchy.
Yeah.
But even a flatback canoe is sketchy. So take that with a grain of safety.
We do have, yes, and the areas we're talking about are very sheltered, specific locations selected. It's not like, here we are in the Great Basin.
4 kilometers from shore.
The sea was angry that day, my friends.
We have bait runners. We have carp rods, carp-specific carp rods. But you don't need that.
Yeah.
I was fishing for carp for years. When I was a kid, I grew up down by a local marina. And I was fishing for carp when I was like 12, 13 years old. And I was just using a 7-foot medium spinning rod with 10-pound mono. Mm-hmm. And I still caught them, right? You don't need anything crazy. It is nice to have the bait runners because that kind of takes a little bit of the stress out of it. You can actually sit back and relax because when a fish grabs your line, when a carp grabs your line, and just bolts, it can pull your rod right in the water. And if that's the case, you're going to be sitting there just on edge the whole time.
Yeah.
You can like open your bail, and I've seen guys put like a beer can over the line, so when the fish starts pulling line off, the beer can, falls over and makes a noise.
Yeah.
Or you get rattles and loosen your drag a lot, but the bait runners are really cool, but you definitely don't need them.
Even center pin reels, if you're a steelheader, I mean, that's probably the most expensive carp combo you're ever going to use. But if you have that, that's a really fun way to target them as well, and can be effective.
Yeah.
So that's. I mean, you're going to have quite the fight on your hand using a 1-to-1 gear ratio.
Yep.
But that is another great and effective way to do it if you have that. And the other good thing with like talking about the carp gear for the rods and reels and stuff, like you said, you can use other stuff, and we both of us have done it for a while. But if you wanted to get a budget carp combo, let's say you go a couple times and you're like, I enjoy this, I want to get a specific combo for it, you can get ones for pretty cheap. Like, you don't have to go spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars. You can get a pretty budget, like Okuma spinning reel that has the bait running feature, right? Or the secondary drag system on it. And you can get those for around $100 or so, depending, especially if you go on sale. And then you get a carp rod. You can pick up the carp rods nowadays. You look around at your local shops and whatnot. You can sometimes get a decent carp rod for around $150. And at that point, you're out the door. That is a specific combo that is geared directly for fishing for carp.
Yeah. And I find the last few years, carp gear is a lot more accessible. Like before, when we ordered carp rods, I was ordering them from carpkit.com because none of the local stores carried carp specific gear, right?
And if you wanted more selection, you're ordering from European carp stores,
which is insane.
Yeah.
But now you go to your local shops, like for instance, our local shops, you have Gagnon Sports. They have a carp kiosk now with rods and baits and all the fancy carp stuff. It may not be like the bougie brands that you get on the, fancy website and stuff, but it's usable stuff. And even if you go to sale, they have a whole area of carp stuff there. So like you can buy carp rods, reels, lines, PVA bags, like all that stuff that you'd need, pop-ups at your local shop. Check it out. Carp fishing is becoming more popular because it's so accessible. You catch giant fish. Quick story. I took my nephew carp fishing. I think it was last year. He'd never caught one before. He fishes a little bit. He's like 13. And you're allowed to use 3 rods each now, which is crazy. They changed the rule. But I only like to use 2 each because it starts to get convoluted, especially when you're fishing with a newbie. So we had 3 or 4 rods out, and he was like, oh man, it was slow. And I felt bad because I'm like, maybe they're not biting. And then all of a sudden it was like the magic hour was like 7 p.m. And then the sun started going down and the fish started biting. And he ended up catching 5 fish, and 2 of them were over 20 pounds. Like 2 of them were big. And the other ones were like 12 to 15, which is like an average size carp. And he's just like fighting the things on these big rods and fighting them. He was having the time of his life, and I was scooping them in the net. He's like, this is so much fun. I was like, yeah, it's carp fishing. Everyone disses it. Not everyone, but a lot of people are like, I would never do that. It's not fun. I was like, it is a lot of fun. Plus, the whole time you can sit in a lawn chair and drink a beer. Like,
yeah,
what's wrong with that? Anyway,
I'm excited for it.
I'm excited for that. And I know it's March now, but that comes up pretty quick. I know we have some guys that we used to fish with here and there that would go carp fishing in March. They'd find like a warm water output or something, but I've caught them steelhead fishing in March on a row bag under a float. I know a lot of guys have, but they starting to feed in April. Like usually we start carp fishing by the end of April, and it'll start like really heating up into May. And by mid-May, it's insane. And then it usually goes until like mid-June. So like it's all spring long that you can have this great fishing. You just need to find a spot. And again, we have a whole multiple episodes about carp fishing. So I'm going to link those down below as well.
So speaking of big, ugly, scaly fish like carp, we're here to talk to another awesome guy.
Who's also big, ugly, and scaly.
He doesn't match that description whatsoever, but he is another avid angler like us, but he also does something special. He makes the baits that we like to use to catch fish on. And so he's going to be at the show at Cancast and again, Cancast and Muskie Odyssey, same day. But I believe Wes is going to be at the Cancast. And you might have heard his name before because we like Wes a lot, or as Jesse calls him, Wham.
A lot of people just call me Wham. I'm used to it by now.
I'm glad you answered to that because I'll probably do that at some point. So Wham. So we have a couple questions for you with your stuff. So we know that this is, I think you've been at Cancast every year, right? Since
every year
started?
except for the very first year that it started. Yeah. So this will be my 4th year there.
That's awesome. And we always like seeing you there.
Stuffing your jackets under my table.
Yeah, we usually bug him like, hey, my back's getting sore. Can I leave my backpack here for a while?
Yeah. And then it's like half the weight as when you left it.
Yeah. I was wondering where that extra bait went.
Just to add, because Andrew forgot to mention, this is Wes from WamBaits.
Yes. I was meandering my way to that point, but...
Just the man who needs no introduction.
So I figured anyone who's watching too knows that he's got his big banner behind him too. So that's recognizable, a nice Canadian brand. And you got a lot of, again, Jesse and I have often used your baits. We still do. You got some really cool and unique ones. Is there anything new that you're bringing to the show this year that you wanted to kind of either give a sneak peek for or...
Yeah, I mean, I started teasing them about mid last week on Instagram when we're recording this, and it's funny that you should ask because these are doing really well when they've been testing down in Florida here. This is the Wham page. That is a 4 1/4, really flat profile flipping bait. These two appendages unclip together and will flap like crazy underwater. The funny thing is when you change speeds on retrieve, they will change their flap pattern to either alternate or they can flap together if you're crawling it really slowly. So really cool, unique action. Feature packed. So like you got a hook point shield right here, channel that keeps it weedless no matter what when you're Texas rigged. Got a little nubby thing on the bottom here that protects the line tie. Just takes away another point where the weeds can gather. And just these little appendages and stuff like that.
That's designed to like recess the eye of the hook into the bait.
Exactly.
I like that a lot.
And then there's this nice deep belly channel here, which just removes any impedance for hook penetration to pop through on a strike there. So that's going to be really wicked. They're coming in packs of 6. And that's, like I said, that's been doing really well down in Florida.
That thing looks simultaneously like a delicious morsel for a bass, but also like my worst nightmare of a bug that would exist underwater, like ready to snip my toes. And it's like, it's like a toe biter beetle on steroids.
Yeah, super flat profile, so you can skip it under docks too. So.
Oh. That would mean that we'd have to know how to skip. So
true. Yeah. You're just that's when you get above average.
You know, I'm a largemouth guy, so whenever Wes comes out, some of his baits, I'm like, yeah,
we're aware,
that
Jesse.
cool. Yeah. Some of his baits come out and I'm like, yeah, that's cool. But then when he comes out with something that is 100% down my alley of like fishing slop, I'm like that bait, I'm like, heck yes, I need multiple packs of those in multiple colors.
Yeah. In multiple colors, Jesse. You threw me off there because it's just in green pumpkin. That's it. I'm sorry.
Green pumpkin and maybe black.
Okay, maybe black.
He likes green pumpkin copper, green purple flake, green pumpkin blue flake.
No, we're excited about that one. What else you got?
Got the second new bait, and these are both custom designed from the ground up, fully designed by me. So this is the Wham Bush grub, and we just are, less than a month removed from Hank Cherry winning in Guntersville on just a 4-inch curly grub, right? This is a 4 1/4 inch. This is the grub that all other grubs try to grow up to be. This is a nice ribbed profile. Okay, so you've got lots of room for displacement of water as well as holding scent. If you use a scent, you can slather it in there and it holds in there. Got the same idea of the hook channel on top to keep it completely weedless no matter what slop you're bringing it through. There's no chance of it getting hung up. And the same belly point here that keeps that hook from stopping on a strike. It just pops right up. I dragged this through Kuchiching, through wood, through grass, through weeds. It didn't get hung up once. So on a Texas rig, this is golden. You can use it as a trailer for a swim jig or a chatterbait or a buzz bait or something like that. Basically any kind of jig, ball head even, just swim it through and this tail goes crazy. It's got that same kind of a scoop shape as the Wham page has. So it's a nice unique action, really constant flutter at any speed.
I was going to say that the tail is much broader for the length of the curl. It's a very broad tail, so that's going to have some good body roll if you're on a straight retrieve even.
Yeah, the tail was one of the things that we worked on the most on this. Number of different times to try and get it right. Lots of revisions on the design and stuff like that. So, but yeah, there's going to be lots of stuff going on at the booth as well. We're going to have the free bonus packs for kids under 10. So bring your kids, bring your families. We'd love to see full families coming out and hanging out and getting the kids involved as well. So swing by the booth and I think I'll have about 25 packs of free baits for kids. It was a big hit last year, so we're doing it again. Tons of stickers for the kids. So lots of stuff going on.
That's right. Have your kids go by the booth, grab one of those packs, come show us, and that pack will go missing. Yeah.
Look over there.
Yoink.
Dumb kid. That bait looks pretty cool. One thing that I think when I first saw you show me that bait, like back in its design stage months ago, I was just thinking, I was like, that's one of those baits that you can legit use for like 10 different things.
Yes.
Any jig that needs a trailer on it, you could use that. You could Texas rig it. You could free rig it. You could put it on a ball head, like buzz bait, spinner bait.
Yeah. And that's,
dude, like
that's, one of the pillars
awesome.
is having baits that are versatile. You don't have to be stuck on one different thing or one thing to, use that bait for. It's not a one technique. None of my baits are basically. I like to have, guys be covered. They can make an adjustment real time on the water if they need to, right? If it's, the Wham Solo at 4.5 inches, bringing it down to that 3.5 inch and just, taking away a short strike or something like that can make all the difference, right? So,
and we just need like a 12-inch version of that for Muskie. Come on, Wes, get on.
all right.
That has a great minnow profile in the body too. Like it's not just a traditional just grub. Like the side profile actually has like a profile.
I wanted it to be designed around a 4 or 5 odd EWG hook, so you could use that and not have any of the hook protruding from any point on that. So it's got nice weedless profile no matter what you're bringing it through.
Wes never disappoints for putting
for you
thought
guys
into his baits.
Yeah. And just to add, if you're listening to this audio version and you're like, wow, those sound awesome, but what do they look like? I'm going to link below in the show notes WamBaits Instagram account, because I know you've posted all that stuff on Instagram already. You can definitely go through his Instagram, see what these baits look like. I guarantee they're like baits that you've never seen before. They're very unique, well thought out, like Andrew said. And again, they're going to be at Cancast. They're like, their first official day is at Cancast. So you got to be
That's
there.
it. That's when they're releasing. They're not available before the show, so you got to come out and get them.
I'll be second in line. Andrew will be first. Let's be serious. He's pushy.
I don't know. I got lots of guys saying I'm going to be there early to get them, so you better get your running shoes on.
Well, unfortunately for most people, me and Andrew get early access. That's something that we've earned over years of doing.
Yeah,
this.
so if you get to the booth and these are all sold out, you know who to come after. They're just going to control the secondary
You
market.
come by and start wondering, why does Wes's booth have a bunch of random baits tucked in behind it? Like, yeah, we set those aside for ourselves. Don't look at those.
What else you got planned for Cancast?
I've got, so one thing that we've been kind of working with you guys on is a full kit of, we're going to split it into two kits. So there's going to be one that's going to be a power box, WamBaits and AOA. That's going to be kind of curated and put together by Jesse himself and all the profiles and colors that he likes to use. Besides just green pumpkin, there might be some variations in there. Maybe some watermelon red, maybe some, no. Okay, never mind. But we're also going to have a finesse kit that Andrew's kind of contributed to and picked out the profiles that he likes to use and, some crazy wacky colors and some stuff that smallmouth are going to smash. So those are going to be available for pre-order. We're going to just get numbers on who is interested and who wants to, invest in one of those. The case comes with it. It's a really nice 3700 size case. It's a waterproof flange on it and a 1-inch opening that actually works, unlike the Plano edges. Did I say that out loud?
Shots fired.
Plano, please don't sponsor me. No, but those are going to be really exciting to work with you guys on.
When I was talking with Wes about picking some of the baits and stuff, I was trying to find ones that, because again, like I like more of a finesse presentation as opposed to Jesse, but I was thinking of things that were very natural for one, but also things that I just want to throw for fun on like BFS. Like, like that would be sick just to toss in the mini bait caster with a jig head or something on. I'm like, this is gonna kill. It's gonna be stuff that I also just find fun to use and experiment with.
It's all fun to use, right? That's the whole point of my stuff behind it. I want guys to have fun. I want guys to have good days out there and families involved and stuff like that, getting people out fishing and having a good time doing it, right? That's what it's all about.
Yeah. And a lot of those boxes, like some of the stuff is new. Obviously, it's stuff that we haven't used yet. But the stuff that we're going to be putting in this kit is stuff that we use every year. Like if you look at all my baits here, like I've got a whole rack here of WamBaits stuff that I use when I go fishing. So it's stuff that we've had the opportunity to use over the last few years. It's stuff that works, and it's stuff that it's unique enough that I feel like it does give you a slight advantage out on the water. So we are going to meticulously pick the colors, green pumpkin, and the shapes, flipping baits, to go into my pack so that if you buy these kits, I guarantee have a bunch of hooks and some weights, you can go out and catch fish. You don't really have to worry that you're going to be unprepared for whatever the situation comes. It's going to have a little bit of everything.
Exactly.
Which is, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
And
Great
if you don't have a
variety and
flipping
stuff.
stick, grab the finesse box.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you want to use a spinning rod every now and then? Hey, that's cool too. No, it's a ton of fun to work you guys.
I will say though, you have to definitely check out Wes's booth, the WamBaits booth, because the last few years we've gone to Cancast, every year I go there right in the morning and I'm like, oh, he's got a lot of stuff. I'll be back and pick up some stuff later. And then when I come back later, it's all legit gone because it sells out. That's like, people are legit lined up for this stuff. It works really good. So you make sure when you have your day and you're planning it out, like if you listen to the first part of this episode and Kyle kind of told you what's in each building and he's like, make a plan, pick which building you want to go to first. Make sure you find WamBaits first, because if you go back at the end of the day, you're not going to be happy.
You might be losing out on some stuff there.
Something else that I saw that you're bringing up for the show too is not just new baits, but a new color. And not often am I like, there's how many things can you do different when you're pouring plastic? Like I'm a very closed-minded individual when it comes to that, apparently. But when I saw you come out, I messaged you. I'm like, dude, this looks sick. And I think you call it wamaflage. Yeah, I saw it. I was impressed. This looks natural. It looks exciting. It looks, I don't know. If people are into custom colors or stuff like that, or wanting like a different color, if you think that makes a difference on your baits. And I believe that at times it absolutely does. Certain things can make a difference on, especially if there's a certain bite for the day. This is another color where it's like, why isn't this a standard color across all bait makers? And it's special to Wes, which is really exciting.
It's been something that I kind of played around with for a long time, to be honest. And a lot of it is just kind of really basic touches to, old foundations. We've got green and brown together on the top, and it kind of looks like a changeable depending on how the light hits it. And then a kind of a light colored on the bottom with some, really natural texture on it. Not to pat myself on the back, but I'm really happy with that color, and I think it's going to do really well.
It seems straightforward when you hear it, but like it looks good.
Yeah.
It looks like an elevated baby bass.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you own some stuff from WamBaits, thank you. That's awesome. Wes thanks you.
I do thank you.
If you don't have this color, which I know you don't because it's new, you need to buy more stuff from WamBaits.
And there's brand new colors that I'm coming out for Cancast all the time. So, there's candied melon, which is this guy, and that's got like a kind of a purple sheen on a watermelon top. And there's black and blue pearl, because it's not just enough to have black and blue. You need to have contrast to get those largemouths to strike sometimes. So there's a white belly with with blue pearl on it. Looks super natural in like a shad kind of profile in the water. I'm trying to pull out all the stops here for the show.
And
it's going to be a heck of a show. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for joining us, Wes.
Happy to be here.
I know we have to pull your arm to come on the show.
Just
kidding,
twist.
Wes loves to come on the show.
We got to let Wes get back to breathing through a respirator, pouring all these thousands of baits for Cancast, because I'm sure you're still going.
I got plastic cooking right now.
Delicious. Oh, we're excited to see you at Cancast, Wes, and we're going to be there first thing bright in the morning.
Definitely mutual.
To steal at least 7 bags of plastic bait. So again, make sure you go to the WamBaits booth, and if you are interested in those kits, talk to Wes and he'll let you know how it is. He'll let you know which one to pick, which one's the better kit to pick. That's mine.
Let your heart guide you.
The best one to pick is both. Let's be honest.
That's true. Then you're covered.
All right, Wes. We'll talk to you
Thanks
soon.
very much, guys.
Thanks a lot. Wow, that's a lot of whammage.
Yes. It's always good talking to our buddy Wes from WamBaits. One time I accidentally called him Wham from Wes Baits, and I was like, I'm going to have to edit that out. And then I couldn't edit it out because it didn't make sense, so I just cut it out. So I felt bad.
And everyone's like, why didn't you even greet your friend? We're like, I messed up, okay?
Take it easy on me. So anyway, this is like the last episode that we're going to talk really in depth about Cancast before the show. So I know it's kind of Cancast saturated, but we're really excited about the show. I know thousands of people come to this show. If you're not someone who lives in Ontario or someone that's not going to be able to make it to the show, you'll just have to deal with this one episode. We're going to get back to normal programming next week or in 2 weeks. Because remember, there's an extra bonus episode in March. We don't always do that, but we're going to have an extra bonus episode, and it's going to be released the Saturday of Cancast. So Cancast is Sunday, the Saturday before, which is March 28th. There's going to be a bonus episode coming out, and it's going to be something that is very special and secret because I haven't thought of it yet, but we're going to have an awesome episode.
And the reason why we're doing that is because for many it's going to be a bit of a drive, as it always is to any event. So we're releasing an extra special one that weekend because we're excited for, again, the show is happening, Cancast and Muskie Odyssey. And then that way, even the vendors driving up the day before, or if you're driving up the day of on the Sunday, you'll have something to listen to kind of get you in the mood to buy. You'll be in the fishing mindset by the time you get to that show. So it'll be good. The last thing that we're going to talk about today is, again, the spring coming up. We're excited for what we can do for fishing wise, but there's also something else that there can be some excitement for, some apprehension, kind of some dreading. Yeah, so I'm kind of like two minds with the stuff that I have to do for this. We're talking about getting our boats ready. This year, again, Jesse kind of has his system down pat of how he gets things prepped, and he might have a couple modifications to do that he wants to get done. We'll talk about that in a little bit of modifying. But for me this year, this is the first year I'm opening my new boat, and new to me, I should say. So we talked before. I have the new Lund, the bigger motor on the back and stuff. So I already did my gear lube change. I already did all that. Oil change is done on it. So I'm good to run the motor itself for the next year. But as for the boat, there's still some things that I need to get done and get prepped. Besides digging through what I'm sure is going to be a massive snow pile in front of this thing to actually get it out of my friend's backyard. So
I know.
I'm going to bust my back before I even get on the water casting, big baits for big fish.
I'm like, Andrew, it's ice out pike, and there's this huge snow pile in front of his boat. I'm like, I don't care. Dig. I'm not going to help him.
We'll start off with Jesse. Is there anything that you are looking to change or fix, repair, update on any of your rigs there?
You know what? I've had this set up, the Sports Pal 14-foot flatback Sports Pal with the 2.5 horsepower Suzuki on the back. This will be the 5th year that I've been using it. I think it's the 5th year, maybe the 6th. I forget.
You had it during COVID when it hit, so it's probably the 6th year.
Yeah, this is the 6th year going in, and I have pretty much got it dialed. So I always do my oil change and my gear lube, like Andrew said. I do that in the fall after I'm done. Give it a good cleaning, the outboard. So really in the spring, it's just, getting it started. That's not an issue. It's been a really super reliable outboard. Once it gets started in the spring, I do not have a problem getting it started. Usually I'll drain the carb after every trip, and it may take maybe 5 or 6 pulls after that to get it started the first day of a trip. But then after that initial warm up, it starts on the first pull every single time. Their Suzuki outboards are ridiculously reliable. I don't really have to do anything with that. I still have my trolling motor. I was talking to Andrew, I might be getting a new trolling motor this year on the Sports Pal because I've had the same one for about 5 or 6 years now. It's a 40-pound thrust. My nephew actually has a kayak now, so he wants to power his kayak. So I said, I have this old trolling motor. I've wanted to get something a little more beefy, like a 55-pound thrust. So I think I might give him my 40-pound, cut down the shaft and rig it up on his kayak so he has a transom mount trolling motor in his, and that'll give me an excuse to buy a new trolling motor. So I might be picking up a slightly more powerful trolling motor. But other than that, it's a canoe, man. Like, it's chill, it's easy, it's great. It doesn't, have a lot of complicated things that I have to fix on it like Andrew's boat, but that's the cost of being in a small boat, is it keeps it simple. There are disadvantages, of course. I can't fish big water. It's very slow, and I can't fish multiple people in the boat, like more than 2 comfortably, but it serves its purpose. And we do use it in a lot of back lakes. Me and Andrew, he got this big 17.5-foot Lund with a 115 on the back, and we were talking the other day about trips we wanted to do, and a lot of the trips that Andrew said to me is like, yeah, I want to use your canoe and go to this lake. I want to use your canoe and go to this lake, because he knows that in his big boat he cannot fish these sick back lakes that we found that are loaded with bass. He can't get his boat in there. To have that ability to get in fish lakes that even guys with bigger boats dream they could get into. So that's one thing that keeps me going. I'm saving up for a boat, but now that Andrew has one, I don't have to save as fast because it's okay. But we do have a lot of work to do on Andrew's boat. Luckily, we both work with tools for a living. We have all the tools. Andrew's a plumber. I do a lot of carpentry and stuff. I'm a handyman. I have all the tools to cut wood. He has all the tools to cut pipes. So we can fix anything on his boat. We're not mechanics though, so luckily there's nothing mechanical that has to be fixed on his boat.
Yeah.
But we're going to have a fun time, I think, this spring, just working on his boat. You like working on stuff, right?
I love a good project.
Yeah.
Projects are fun. And
Yeah.
thankfully, when I had the tinner, like I did all the wiring on that because again, it's just bare bones aluminum boat, and so I got fairly comfortable with how to wire and for 12-volt systems. And the boat, everything that runs on it is a 12-volt system. So I have to change some interior lights. Need to get those replaced because all the LEDs are gone on it. Then very simple, easy to do a butt connector with some heat shrink on it. The other thing is navigation lights. Need to make sure that those are operational because I didn't have a chance to get into it too much last year. I'd like to try and get the live well repaired. There is a leak somewhere. I don't know yet if it's in the inlet or the outlet hose. But because it runs through foam-filled channels, I'm going to have to get fairly inventive with how I can plumb it in so that it will work effectively without tearing all of my boat apart. So there's a couple things I do want to get, which isn't on board right now, is a automatic bilge. So there's the manual bilge, which I'll keep, obviously. It's always good to have backups. Even my live well pump can be put into the other bilge. It's the same pump itself, so it can just be swapped over. So if I needed if my bilge pump does die, I can swap out my live well pump to the bilge and then just pump out the boat still. But I want to have an automatic one with a float because I'm going to be going camping or I'm going to be at a cottage or something like that this year, and I won't be able to have my boat pulled out every single day. So when it sits overnight, I just want to ensure that if it rains a lot or if there's a slight leak or anything like that, I just want to make sure that it can empty itself and I don't wind up with a flooded boat in the morning. But yeah, otherwise, like there's not a whole lot of stuff. I still have plans to make my own little kind of portable battery box to power like the electronics, even just phone chargers and stuff like that. Because traditionally on a boat, on my tinner, I had all that stuff in there. I had everything wired in with the gang panel, had USB drive, USB plugs and stuff to charge whatever you wanted. On this boat, it doesn't have any of that because it's just the stock electronics essentially on board. So yeah, you have your live well bilge pump, your navigation lights, your interior lights, and that's about it. So if I want to charge anything or we want to run the cameras and stuff, we're going to need some portable power. So I'm going to be making my own kind of lake box with probably a 50 amp hour, I'm thinking lithium ion, just so I have plenty of power to run my not live scope, but my imaging, my depth finder and stuff like that. So yeah, just a few things to get wired in and maybe some extra seating / rear casting deck. I have some plans already in my mind to just make it a bit more useful and comfortable in the back of the boat for any additional passengers, because it's going to be used not just for fishing, but also, take the wife out, go tubing and all that stuff. So I'm going to have times where there'll be other people on board. So I want to have it a bit more versatile. So I do want to make some changes to the interior as well that will be a bit more modular or multi-purpose as well. So there'll be some changes to the boat, but what I'm excited about is the motor is going to run great and I can run fast and I can be on big water. That I know 100% that already works. So it will be getting used regardless this year.
Absolutely. And I'm very excited about that rear casting area that I'm going to help Andrew build, because that's where I'm going to be fishing from. At the front, there's this big, beautiful casting area. Andrew's up there with the trolling motor and I'm in the back just teetering on this small board. I'm like, I can't cast.
The great thing I'm really excited about is with this bigger boat, and we did a little bit of it when we went out on the one day in the fall. There's enough space for both of us to stand on the front deck as well. So if we're going through and we're like, pitching and stuff for bass, it's not a problem for us to both be standing in the front deck or in narrow water, and we can both just fish either side or just off the front if we're fishing like pelagic fish or something like that. Whereas in the tinner, it was nice. Like I had decking all in there, so Jesse would be at the back, I'd be at the front with the trolling motor, but there's no way we could stand beside each other and fish. Yeah. Whereas this boat, there's a big enough deck where we can absolutely do that. So I'm excited for having just the freedom to walk around, to film. We're excited about being able to film potentially some more stuff as well, just because we can have the power system running full time and the cameras semi-permanently mounted to the inside of the boat. So we can hopefully get some more videos and stuff for you guys as well this year.
Make sure you follow us on Instagram, because we're going to be posting a lot of the boat project stuff on our Instagram account. Again, I'll link that below in the show notes. If you don't already follow us on Instagram, make sure you do it. I'm actually in a project right now to grow our Instagram account. Our goal is to have 40,000 followers by the end of the year. We're almost at 30. So I think we can do it, right, Andrew?
I think so. I think.
But help us out, because it isn't
with
easy.
People's
so
help, we can do it.
Anyway, that's a great episode. We're really excited for Cancast. If you see us at Cancast, make sure you stop and say hi to us. So many people last year and the year before, they came up and talked to us. But then I also had many people weeks or days later be like, hey, I saw you guys, but you looked busy. Believe me, we're not busy. Unless I'm talking to like legit Bob Azumi, I'm not busy. Come up and say hi to us. People talk our ears off. Interrupt. Politely. Don't just butt in, but like politely interrupt. We would love to say hi to you. We'd love to take a picture. And again, like Andrew said, with our hat giveaway.
Yes.
Take a picture with us and you, post it on Instagram, tag us in the photo, and you will be entered into a draw to win a limited edition AOA hat. Sick.
And we'll have, again, more details. We'll make a post about that on that weekend as well, so that you can reference that for, again, the rules to apply for being able to be entered into that giveaway. So thank you for everyone who has, who is listening. If you haven't had a chance yet to give us a follow, smash that like and subscribe button. But if you have the opportunity to leave a review, though, that does help us out a lot. We're trying to get as many reviews as we can, just because we want to be able to lord it over other people and be like, haha, look what we have. So we appreciate everyone who has already done so. If you haven't, please consider doing so as well. It does help us out a lot. Check us out on Instagram. Jesse has a few links in there to other accounts as well. So give the other guys we talk to a follow. Follow Kyle, follow Wes, anyone else we've talked to or that you see at the show. A lot of these guys have it. So support them on social media. It does help a lot. And if you do want to support even more so, we do have our Patreon. And that is another great way to help cover the costs of the work and the programs required to edit and produce the show here. So thank you everyone for doing so. Before we close the episode now, though, we have, as tradition states, we have the quote of the week. And Jesse forgot. Like we always do. I don't know how we forget literally every single time.
I'll tell you why, because this particular episode was filmed in like 4 different sections because of the guests.
On 2 different days.
By the end, I was like, yep, whatever. Okay, here's my quote. So if you're at Cancast and you want to take a picture with Andrew, here's the quote. If you touch Andrew's beard, Jesse will say,